Oh boy, let me just read the title out for you. Let me just read hold on now. Let me just read the title out for you. Cause look, this is his exact title. Donald Trump just won the 2024 election. Look. Y'all can see the title. Look, I'm not making this up. You can. Whoa. But before we get into this, man, I want to just tell you guys that I love y'all, man, and that I'm wishing the best in all you guys' life, man. We got to come together. We got to spread the love, man. One love, baby, to the human race, man. You know, we're living in the most darkest and craziest times yet, in the biggest history yet. And as y'all know, July 13, 2024 was a historic moment, man. And will live on forever. When we're longer gone, years and centuries down the road, man, people are still gonna be looking at that picture, still gonna be playing that what took place in that clip, that video, you know. Fight, man. Very powerful, man. And again, we still want to send our prayers, condolences to the father who passed, to the family, the Carpenter family, Carpenter. I always pronounce the last name wrong. I apologize, but just want to send love to the family, man. You know, somebody lost a father, man, lost a loved one, and we send our prayers and loves to the two others that were wounded and still in a critical condition. You know, but boy, oh boy. We're going to be bringing you guys amazing updates, man, as we're on the road to a huge victory, a huge landslide. And we can't stop now, y'all. We cannot stop now. But because, hey, nothing, can't get satisfied. Nothing's guaranteed. You remember what happened last time? I mean, we everything was looking good. We went to sleep and woke up the next day and say, what the has happened? What has happened? What is going on? What? I mean, I went to sleep for just a little bit and I woke up and just, what? Just saying now. But anyways, let's get into it, man. I want to see what Stephen A had to say. A couple of y'all sent this to me. Said it's, you know, Stephen A, and y'all know he talks, when he talks, we know what type of timing he's on, and it's like he talks from both sides. You know, he stands in the middle of the aisle. You know, we know he's Democrat, but again, won't be surprised if not long from now he comes out and he's a Republican. Yeah, we know we won't even be surprised when that happens, especially from his recent takes he's had this past year. Oh boy, but let's go and jump into it, y'all.
On iHeartRadio, we've exceeded more than 1.25 million downloads over the last 3 months or so. So can't thank y'all for the support and love enough. Keep it coming, and I'm gonna keep on coming. Obviously, this is a different kind of show today because we all know what the biggest story in the world, in all likelihood, is taking place right now. We all know what happened this past Saturday. That's where we're going to start. The attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump during a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. It was an historic moment without question that sent shockwaves throughout the world as Trump was rushed off the stage, his face bloodied from a bullet he says pierced his ear. The shooter, who the FBI identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Pennsylvania, killed one person and wounded 2 others before he was taken out by Secret Service snipers. Former President Trump went to social media and called for national unity in a post Sunday morning saying, quote, "In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true characters as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win.
Man.
Needless to say, we heard from President Biden as well, who echoed the sentiments of unity in an address to the nation last night from the Oval Office. Take a look.
We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. I know that millions of my fellow Americans believe it as well. And some have a different view as to the direction our country should take. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field.
You know, I've had a lot of thoughts,
Democracy.
obviously, since the attempted assassination took place this weekend. Thank God Donald Trump was not killed. First of all, we don't wish that on anybody as human beings.
Yes, indeed.
I don't give a damn what your political ideology is, where you stand, whatever the case may be. You don't wish that on anybody.
On anybody. And it disgusted me. We even had a whole family argument at an event that I went to the day it happened. Y'all seen the day it happened, and I was live recording. Then I had to go to an event, and two of the other people was talking about, it was at the event, we're talking about, I wish it would have, and everybody just set it off. You know, you don't wish that on anybody, man. You don't wish that on anybody. I don't care if you don't agree with the man. If you don't agree with what he said, if you don't agree on this policy, if you don't agree on that, man, you don't wish that on anybody. That man is a father. That man has loved ones, man. We all, you know, not everybody's going to agree with everything I'm saying on every single video. And there's people out there that just don't like me. But I want to tell them I still love you. I still wish the best for you and your family. For your kids. I'm wishing the best in their lives too. Let bygones be bygones, man. But you know, with the left and what you see on the mainstream media and all the hatred, the violence, what they've spewed out, what they've said, how bad they've wiped this man through the mud.
And so thank God that Donald Trump was not killed. He's fortunate in that regard. And to be quite honest with you, as a nation, we're very, very fortunate. Because when you talk about chaos and mayhem and Lord knows what other words that you can associate with such a thing, if that man, if Mr. Crooks, who is now deceased, had succeeded in taking out the presumptive GOP nominee for the presidency of the United States of America, if he had pulled that off, who knows what state of affairs would exist in this country today?
Boy.
Who knows what kind of chaos would have reigned because of it? Who knows? So thank the good Lord that Donald Trump was not killed and that he is alive and still free to pursue the presidency or return to the presidency of the United States of America. We'll get that out of the way first. Secondly, talking about this kid right here, 20 years old. I'm just looking at some of the notes that I researched. 20 years old, from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, mid-sized town of roughly 33,000 residents, about 45 miles south of the Butler Farm Showgrounds where the shooting took place. Mr. Crooks worked as a dietary aide at Bethel Park Skilled Nursing and Rehabilitation Center not far from his home. He graduated from Bethel Park High School in 2022. Former classmates described him as a, quote, relentlessly bullied loner who loved playing video games and hunting. So We've had many, many conversations about the detrimental effects of bullying and the kind of terror it has the potential to breed, because one day when somebody's bullied and bullied and bullied, you just never know what they'll turn into and what they will do. And this is the latest example of that. All right. Interestingly enough, in some people's eyes anyway, according to state voting records, Crooks was a registered Republican, though given his age, he would have been too young to cast a ballot in 2020. However, he did make a $15 donation to the Liberal Act Blue Political Action Committee on January 20th, 2021, the day of President Biden's inauguration day, when he was just 17 years of age. They said that just hours before taking aim at the former president, Donald Trump, Crooks bought 50 rounds of ammo. And when his body was found on the roof of a manufacturing plant over 130 yards away from Trump's rally stage, he was found with an AR-style semi-automatic rifle that belonged to his father. Crooks was wearing a shirt for a popular gun-focused YouTube channel called Demolition Ranch.
Demolition Ranch, yeah.
Which has over 11 million subscribers. That's notes about him. And that's where we go from there. I wanted to say this, and I understand that it's not going to be popular, and I'm certainly not pointing the finger at any individual or any party when it comes to such a thing. Again, thank God Donald Trump survived. We certainly don't need an assassination. This country doesn't need to deal with that. It almost happened with Ronald Reagan in the 80s. It almost happened out of the country with George W. Bush when somebody threw a grenade in his direction when he was in the presidency. We know what happened to John F. Kennedy in 1963. We know what happened to Robert F. Kennedy in 68 when he was ultimately going to be running for the presidency. So this is not the first time in history that we've seen something or heard of something like this. But the times that we're living in right now, if you think about it, history of presidential assassination attempts in the United States, right there in front of you: Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield, William McKinley, President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt, two men breaking into the home of Harry Truman in an assassination attempt in 1950. It's been going on for a long period of time. John F. Kennedy, like I told you, assassination attempts on Gerald Ford. Ronald Reagan shot and wounded by John Hinckley Jr. in 81. And of course, I brought up Bush in 2005. You know, somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. You know, when we're looking at situations like this, first thing I want to get out the way is this. This shooter, this is my opinion. It's not the opinion of anybody I work with, anybody that knows me, or anything like that. In my opinion, the shooter, he just handed Donald Trump the election. That is what I believe. Of course, I don't know that as fact. Of course, things could change.
I can stop the video right here. Can I? Can I stop the video right here, y'all?
But in my opinion, he just handed Donald Trump the election. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't buy. I've been in media for 30 years. You can't buy a better photo than what Donald Trump has at his disposal as we speak. He goes to the ground. He's got blood on his right ear, looked like it got nicked, which is what he said, it pierced his ear. He gets up. He looks disheveled. All right. Clearly taken aback by what happened, and rightfully so. Blood trickling down his ears and the right side of his face. Surrounded by Secret Service agents. Raises his fist. Is shriveled, cringing his face up. Fight, fight, fight. He says it 3 times. And while raising his fist, surrounded by Secret Service agents. The American flag is behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't buy that. You can't buy a better photo than that if you're a politician. You can't buy a better photo than that. Look at the video of him raising his fist. Look at the crowd going crazy behind him. Look at them saying, yeah, 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 you know? And then listen to the pundits on TV talking about how strong, how vibrant, how courageous. And they were using these words. And not coincidentally, it was the antithesis of what they've been saying about President Biden. Now,
I done got to, it's like I'm happy, but I'm mad, man. That's why I got these tears, y'all. You know? And just hearing this come out of Stephen A's mouth, man, I'm like, wow. You know? But it looked so good, man. And this is why, another reason why a lot of people were admitting that they thought this thing was staged, because of how good the American flag was in the back, you know? And y'all seen it. Y'all seen what everybody was talking about, man. And now everybody's apologizing and they know this thing is real as it can get. But how the American flag was in the back, man. And he had his fist, like everything. It was like somebody, like an AI made the photo or something. You just can't, you know, you can't get no better photo, man. And that photo is going to be in your kids' history books. It's going to live forever, man. You know? Woo! That just got me fired up, man. And again, we're gonna be bringing you guys some updates on that, on the Secret Service failure. How how a 20-year-old was allowed to shoot from 100 yards, a couple hundred yards away. You know, and we know what that's all about. So we're gonna be bringing you updates on that whole Secret Service. We've been bringing a couple videos on it, but we're gonna be bringing you a lot of updates to it as they come out.
Now you see right there what Donald Trump's statement was on his Truth social media page in the aftermath of what transpired. I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement officials for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. This is what he's doing. There's not a word in there that he said that we can refute. And he brought up somebody that was injured. This individual was killed. Shots rang out, and he literally jumped to save his wife, to cover his wife and his 2 children. And he got hit in the head and he was killed.
Rest in peace, man.
My condolences to him, to his family, and to him, of course, and to those who were injured at the rally as well. But make no mistake about it, Donald Trump, in my opinion, secured the presidency with this. A Donald Trump that was impeached twice. A Donald Trump that had a $454 million settlement levied against him. A Donald Trump that was convicted on 34 felony counts, yet was still the presumptive GOP nominee. That Donald Trump is now a martyr.
And couldn't tell you, and it has been sham after sham. They have wiped this man through the mud. Through the mud. Couldn't play the game fair and square. Couldn't play the game fair and square. And I'm with you guys, man. I hope it's a landslide. We encourage everybody to go out and vote, man. Because these last 4 years, and we're not even just going to say these last 4 years, it's just been a America isn't America anymore. And now we are the biggest laughing stock. People are struggling, have died, are dying as we speak. People that are chasing the American dream.
You can slice it any way you want to. If you're talking about America and the kind of impact visuals have on our society, good or bad, as a politician, it don't get any better than the picture by the Associated Press, by the way, that you see of Donald Trump surrounded by Secret Service agents, raising his fist, imploring folks to continue to fight with the American flag behind him. It doesn't get any better than that, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not using words like better and stuff like that inappropriately because obviously I'm not talking about his shooting. That in and of itself is egregious and awful and heinous. I'm talking about the photo thereafter. As a politician, it doesn't get it. You can't find a better photo than that. You just can't. And so this is where we are. And if you are President Biden, boy, you've got your work cut out for you now. Because the courts in Florida just ruled that Donald Trump can't be prosecuted for taking the files out of the White House to his Mar-a-Lago estate.
Dismissed.
So you can't go after him for that any longer. Okay, that's no longer an issue. That's
sham after sham after sham. Can't tell us the crime could have been bought 8 years ago. Told y'all, man, the truth must shine in the light for the good and for the bad. Reap what you sow, baby, and it's gonna come out.
no longer something you can get at him about. We already know he lost the New York City hush money trial for falsifying business records. Those were the 34 felony counts that I told you about.
Turning misdemeanors into felonies.
He still has the Capitol riot in the 2020 election case. What you think that's going to be like? What DA is going to be able to bring Donald Trump into court at this moment? Think about that. Think about that. The GOP, the Republican National Convention, starts tonight in Milwaukee. He's going to name his VP running mate,
which is JD Vance. Again, this was recorded a couple hours the day before the RNC, y'all, which we've already covered the RNC.
He's going to give a speech Thursday, and it will no longer be presumptive. He will be officially the GOP nominee. How you going to rush him into court for the 2020 election case now? He still has a Georgia 2020 election interference case. How you going to run that against him now? Tell me what prosecutor is going to be able to justify to the American public taking a presidential candidate and the GOP nominee into court days or weeks after he survived an assassination attempt. You can't do it. So all the legal stuff, all the legal maneuverings that have been taking place, it's all over, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump's not going to jail. Not going to be prosecuted. You can book it. You can book it. It's not going to happen. Again, it's just my opinion. It's not going to happen. You can't justify doing it now. How are you going to pull that off? I can't see it. Here's the last point that I wanted to make before we have our next guest on, because it's something that's very, very important. You know, I watched a lot of news over the last 48 hours, and we've seen a lot of political pundits and politicians over the airwaves waxing poetically about we need to tone down the rhetoric. I just played you the sound from the President of the United States saying we got to tone down the rhetoric and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the American public is getting lectured on what we need to do to dial back the rhetoric. I don't disagree with that sentiment. I don't disagree with that sentiment at all. But I'll be damned if I don't disagree, or I don't at least have a problem, rather, with the politicians and the pundits who have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to to stick their big faces in front of a camera and think they get to lecture us when they're the ones who instigate all of this. It's them. It's them. All of this rhetoric we're talking about, and I don't mean in any way to imply that that's responsible for crooks trying to assassinate the president. No, that's on him. Clearly, something was wrong with him. Clearly, the bullying got to him, and he wanted to sit up there and be a martyr or a hero or whatever the hell he thought of himself. I'm certainly not going to blame politicians or political pundits for that, but I don't want to be lectured about how we need to dial down the rhetoric when you're the one that's fomenting it. You're the one instigating it. You're the one starting it. All of yous. Republicans and Democrats. Politicians and pundits. All of yous. You did that. Not us. Not the American people. Black, white, Latino, Asian American, Jews, Catholics, Christians. It don't matter. Y'all did that.